blast, and I can't wait to see that. And that's at the 200 goal. All right. So Cloud9 versus Holy Crow up first. I can't wait to see that matchup. And we're going to be jumping into that series very, very shortly. I actually made an announcement yesterday. This announcement was the introduction of War Game Wednesdays. What War Games Wednesdays are, it's kind of just a broadcast to allow teams to challenge one another to a show match. So it's not really a part of a tournament, but these teams, if like say there's some sort of drama, if there's anything like that happening within the community and like people just want to call each other out, or if they just want to challenge their friends even, they actually are able to do that by jumping right into War Game Wednesday and challenging one another. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But first, we're going to jump into the very first game of the tournament, the very first series of the tournament, and of course, in the Grand Arena is the first map. Whoa, we actually just got a new sub. Thank you so much for that new subscription, man. Let's see if I can pronounce your name. Ninarin. Thank you so much, Ninarin, for that sub. Welcome to the team. The gates are about to open. It's Cloud9 versus Holy Crow, and I can't wait to see what happens here. Give us a quick hot minute here. Actually, the camera is all sorts of fun. Let's see if I can change this mid-game. A lot of options not working at the moment. Uh-oh. Alright, we're just going to have to deal with it for the first game, guys, but here we go. It is Supatiz, it is Tazzlol running against the RMD that is Cloud9. They're actually running on different tunes that I'm used to in names. Supatiz actually getting set on right away with that Death from Above with Tazzlol caught into the full polymorph. 2 Ice Novas coming out onto Supatiz. He's going to use that Shadow Metal. He's going to use that Bark Skin. He's in bear form. The Rallying Cry also coming out from Lossa right away in this opener. Supatiz wants to get offensive. He has that Incarnation. He has that Celestial Alignment up. He's trying to get in their face. Cubsy just getting Globaled. Stormbolt out of nowhere. 1% health behind the pillars. Gonna force his Trinket, Iron Bark, Nature Swiftness. How are you alive? Cubsy, you live, Lord. Supatiz and Lossa's random burst damage did so much work, but now Supatiz is in some trouble. Taz in a full polymorph. Supatiz has no out for this, no Bark Skin, dipping down to 4% health here, 1% health here, and down he goes. Unbelievable play already coming right out of the gates. Cloud9 and Holy Crow just have some amazing setup and burst pressure, and somehow, some way, Cubsy survived that. I don't even know, man. Let's take a quick look at that replay. I wonder if this replay is before Cubsy almost nearly got globaled. It is 1% health in a Stormbolt. Unbelievable, and they turn it back around. I cannot believe it. Holy Crow and Cloud9, 2 explosive teams facing off against each other here in the game number 1 of the series. Unfreaking believable, man. Unfreaking believable. Alright guys, we're going to be getting into game number 2 here very, very shortly. Holy moly, that was a hell of a game to start the day off. Thank you guys so much for coming and tuning in here, and I can't wait to see game number 2 of this best of 5 series. Now this is a double elimination tournament. That means whichever team actually loses actually get to drop down to that lower bracket to try to fight their way back up through the tournament. That means that they have to fight an entirely additional series to be able to make it to the finals, and no one really wants to be in that position. Cloud9 though, they have to be shaken up. I mean, Cloud9 is just so well known for being such a strong and fearsome team, and there was a brief moment there where Cubsy downright should have died, and so they got to be feeling like they have to take this qualification team a little bit more seriously. And we're going to be jumping into the game here very, very shortly. It's Cloud9 versus Holy Crow. Holy Crow, of course, equipped with Supatiz, the legendary caster, but also a Boomkin, a Restoration Druid, and an Affliction Warlock is in his arsenal. Tony, of course, known for his Enhancement Shaman Turbo, but he also plays a Hunter. He played Tony Styles the Hunter for quite a long time, always having that available to him, as well as Jack Reacher. his Frost Mage. Tazzlol, of course, representing the Restoration Druids and Lossa on that Arms Warrior, doing unbelievable damage, going up against the fearsome Cloud9. Cloud9 has that RMD that they're so well known for throughout all of BlizzCon. Cubsy, Rocies, and Wealthy Man running RMD with a Combat Rogue and a Subtlety Rogue. But also, Goreki coming into the fray is going to add so much versatility to this team, really making them a scary team. Goreki equipped with a Shadow Priest, I mean, an Elemental Shaman, a Resto Shaman, you name it. A Warlock, this guy can play it. Here we go, but we're going to jump into the second map of this Best of 5 series, and Dalaran Sewers will be it. Welcome everyone to Dalaran Sewers. The camera has been fixed and it's Cloud9 versus Holy Crow in game number 2 here. Cloud9 had a very scary encounter with the Boomkin Lossa burst damage that Holy Crow put out onto Cubsy, but they still took the win regardless. They just did the setup over and over again. They rotated the defensive cooldowns they need to, and they made it happen, but can they do it again? Holy Crow sticking with this Warrior Restoration Druid Boomkin composition that is just so abnormal. It has to be a weird thing to see in a tournament like this. Cloud9, of course, is used to fighting very consistently the same compositions at the highest level, and this is just not one of them. Wicked Witch, of course, is Wealthy Man himself. Scary Monster, of course, is Roasty. And I have to say, Roasty's dress is on point for a rogue. It's pretty intense, but here we go. Lossa charging in onto Wealthy Man right away. Death from above from Roasties is going to jump right onto Supatees right away. It's going to force his Barkin. He has an Incarnation Celestial Alignment out, though, so they got to be careful. Bash goes out onto Roasties. Looks like they're going to put some damage into him, but Cubsy's got a lot. Oh my gosh, Roasties taking so much burst damage, dipping down to 30% health there. Going to catch the Nature Swiftness as well as the evasion. They're swapping the pressure over onto Wealthy Man and forcing the block as well as the Iron Bark. These guys have so much burst pressure. Cloud9 just rotating through their defensive cooldowns very quickly, though, but it seems like they need to. Iron Bark goes out into Supatees. Here's the setup onto him. Full polymorph out onto Tazzlol, and that's another cheap shot going out onto Supatees. Bash onto on the Lossa. The cross CC from this RMD is unbelievable. Supatees now getting garroted up in bear form, just desperately trying to survive through this setup. Tazzlol has no outs available to him. He has no trinket. All he has left to really keep Supatees alive here is that Nature Swiftness. Now Supatees getting cloned up at low health in bear form. Full kidney shot goes out on a Tazzlol, but the overlap of that Cyclone for just a second. 2 Ice Novas. Death from above lands out into Supatees. Barkskin comes off a cooldown just in the nick of time. Rallying Cry being used as well. Can Supatees survive through the onslaught that is Cloud9? Rallying Cry fading in just a few short seconds. They're trying to swap the pressure over out onto Scary Monster, aka Roasties. He's going to use the Cloak of Shadows to negate a lot of that burst pressure, and as soon as he just gets out of line of sight, they swap that pressure over out onto Wicked Witch. Holy Crow's been defensive for so long, and this is their time to get offensive. What are they going to do with it? It looks like they're just going to hide behind the pillar for now, wait for their cooldowns. Stormbolt going out onto Cubsy. Wicked Witch now the kill target for Lossa. Supatees sitting with his Restoration Druid by that pillar. He does not want to be caught out in the middle of the map. He knows his healer has no trinket, no Nature Swiftness, no Iron Bark, but here we go. Regardless, Rosie's gonna go in instead. Full Polymorph's gonna land. Supatees catching the Iron Bark before the full Polymorph, however. He's in that bear form, a half Polymorph to follow it up on the Taz into the full Cyclone. Now the Bash goes out on a Scary Monster. It looks like it's defensively from Supatees. He knows his healer's going through the CC. He knows his healer has no trinket. He's just trying to stay alive, but now Cubsy pushing in is taking a whole bunch of pressure. It's gonna force the Barkskin and Nature Swiftness out, and it just, oh my gosh, Supatees though in a lot of trouble in the back foot. Tazzlol in the full kidney. He has the trinket. He's holding on to it. Is this the right move? 14% health onto Supatees. The full sap's gonna land into a half sap. Tazzlol wasn't able to get into combat after the trinket. Into the DR Bash. Garrote onto Supatees. Deep freeze onto Lossa. Into the full blind. Tazzlol gets broken out of it because of the orb, however. Gets the Nature Swiftness off, and Supatees is somehow alive through all of Cloud9's damage. Now they're swapping the pressure over onto Cubsy. Iron Bark comes out, but is it a little too late? 6% more, 6% damage reduction remains for that Iron Bark. He's gonna go into bear form and get the heck away from this Boomkin Warrior, and this could go either way at any second. And as I say that, Supatees is dipping so low into the triple sheep shot into the grow, and down he goes. Cloud9 is just gonna go over and over and over again, cross CC over and over and over again, and land that kill out onto Super T's, taking game number 2. Unbelievable play coming out from both of these teams. I mean, Holy Crow just in these guys' face the entire, or I'm sorry, Cloud9 in Holy Crow's face the entire game, but just this random burst pressure really keeping Cloud9 on their toes, rotating through as much defensive cooldowns as it need be. Cubsy doing a great job being able to live through the surprise burst pressure that is Holy Crow, and now they're up 2-0. Holy Crow all of a sudden needs to win 3 games in a row to make their way through that upper bracket. All right, let's take a look at that scoreboard. All right, 144k Star Search coming out from Supatis and 110k Immortal Strike from Lossa. That is the kind of burst pressure that you have to be scared of. But Cloud9, regardless of that burst pressure, stays inside of Holy Crow's face and just rotate through the defensive cooldowns. And here we go. We're going to be jumping into the 3rd game of the series very, very shortly, and Holy Crow all of a sudden is just 1 loss away from being dropped down to that lower bracket. I'll keep you guys updated. For those of you who are tuning in the middle of this series, this is the very first series of the entire tournament. It's Cloud9 versus Holy Crow, and yeah, Holy Crow, the qualification team. Holy Crow, the qualification team. Going up against the #1 seeded team of the tournament right away, just being thrown right into the fire as they enter this tournament. But man, they are putting up a fight against Cloud9. Cloud9 just 1 win away from going forward in this upper bracket. And then after that, guys, we have Splice versus Donut. So make sure you guys are following the stream and staying tuned, because we have a big long day of some awesome PvP. There's only 2 teams that are going to be eliminated today. We will be going through the upper bracket and the upper bracket of round 2, as well as round 1 of the lower bracket. So make sure you are giving all of your favorite teams all of the energy, because they're going to need it, because 2 teams will be eliminated from the tournament today. Let's take a quick look at Holy Crow versus Cloud9, and I love to see these guys' real face. And also make sure to follow these guys on Twitter, so you are checking out their point of view, their streams and whatnot. Tony as well as Supatis have their Twitters, but Go Reki, Cubsy, and Roasties and Wealthy Man, all of these guys have a stream, and all of these guys do turn it on every now and then. So if you want to see some high-end PvP, you want to see some of the best players in the world competing on the 3v3 ladder, make sure to follow them on Twitter, guys. All right, we're going to be jumping into the next game here very, very shortly. The way our format works is that in the Grand Arena will be a blind pick, and then after that, the losing team actually gets to hear what composition the enemy team will be playing. So in this scenario, Holy Crow lost twice in a row. They get to know what composition Cloud9 will be choosing, and they then can make the choice to change their composition accordingly if they want to. And here we go. The next map chosen by Holy Crow is Tiger's Peak. Thank you so much, Malik, for that subscription, man, and welcome to the team. I really do appreciate the support. But it looks like Cloud9 sticking with their patented RMD, running on sub. Roasty, of course, playing that sub rogue. Gotta love Roasties on that sub rogue. Holy Crow sticking with this weird composition of Boomkin, Warrior, Restoration, Druid. They feel like this is their best chance to beat Cloud9, but can they do it? They have 3 long games ahead of them if they are going to beat Cloud9. And here we go, Shroud coming out from Roasties right away. They're trying to get a good opener once again. Invisibility coming out from Wealthy Man as well. Supatis in the far, far back. He knows he's a kill target. He's going to make them work for it. And it looks like Lossa and Wealthy Man are going to be going one-on-one here in the middle of the map to start things off, as neither team wants to give away their invisibility's presence. Supatis in the far, far back. of the room. He does not want to get pulled out by Cloud9, and he does not want to be the kill target either. He's looking for a good opener, it would seem. There's the interruption on Cubsy's Cyclone. It looks like they're going to be bashing up Roasties and swapping over onto him. This is the Celestial Alignment. Roastie's got a Trinket. He's going to Trinket and Cloak of Shadows. I like that choice coming out from Roasties, is giving him the defensive cooldowns right away, because that was a lot of burst from Supatees. Now the Hat Polymorph followed up on Taz. Supatees now the main kill target. He's in bear form. He has that bark skin for just a few more seconds. It fades. Now they're trying to get offensive onto Cubsy. Cubsy's going to Shadow Meld and get the heck out of there. And this burst pressure from Holy Crow is very scary, but Cloud9 doing a great job dealing with it so far. Roasties, though, without Cloak, without Trinkets, gotta be careful. He knows he's a potential kill target moving here forward. Supatees catching the Iron Bark preemptively from Tazzlol. Well, he knows the setup's coming as Roasty pushes in. There's a Stormbolt onto Roasties. He has no Trinket for this, but Cubsy, not in any CC, is healing through this like a boss. Roasties feeling so comfortable that he's even able to push in here. Cyclone goes out onto Lossa. Roasties and Wealthy Man now trying to push in out onto Supatees. Death from above from Roasties, as well as the Ice Nova's coming out from Wealthy Sock. This is the dance. Taz gets fully ringed up. Supatees getting garroted as well. He has that vigilance on him from Lossa, but is it gonna be enough? Supatees in a lot of trouble here as his healer's just going through the CC. Garrote reconnects out from Roasties. There's the bark skin as well as the bear form from Supatees. He's trying to get an interrupt onto Wealthy Sock. He actually gets the interrupt on the poly to prevent Taz from going through any more CC, and that might be how Supatees survives. Regardless, Taz still going through the CC. He gets bashed up. More CC to follow it up. He actually gets kidney shotted out of that, and Supatees just across the map wants nothing to do with it. But this is a scary moment. He has no displace available. If Roasties gets Supatees out of stealth, Supatees could very well die. He's in that bear form, though. He's hotting himself up, and Lossa in the background's trying to make something happen. Supatees actually getting caught out. He's across the map. Tazzlol running into the bomb, trying to save his Boomkin Druid. Catches the Iron Bark. Orb coming out from Wealthy. That was a very scary moment once again from Supatees. But now they're trying to swap the pressure back over out onto Roasties. Roasties has a Trinket available in 4 seconds, and it looks like they're swapping that pressure over onto Cubsy, forcing the Trinket as well as the bark skin and Nature's Swiftness. And regardless of Holy Crow being forced defensive for so long, this random openings of burst just get the defensive cooldowns they need to get themselves back into the game. But is it going to matter? Full Cyclone lands over out on the Lossa. The cross CC now available. Supatees knows what's coming to him. He's in stealth. He is a scared kitty cat. And Lossa just trying to make something happen as Supatees is forced to go defensive over and over and over again. Now Lossa being the main kill target for Cloud9, considering Supatees is consistently running away, waiting for his opening. But now he's coming out of stealth. He gets gouged up. There's the kidney shot over out onto Lossa. Wealthy Sock blinking in, getting the full deep freeze, but he's going to get interrupted on his cast by Supatees' solar beam. Great job by Supatees to stop it, but isn't going to be enough. Lossa forced to use that die by the sword defensive cooldown to survive here, reducing all those parries as well as the damage, but doesn't matter. Iron Bark now being used from Lossa from Taz onto Lossa because he's getting so low regardless of the die by the sword, and now he's forced defensive. It looks like Cloud9 does not care who wants to stay out in the open. They will force them defensive regardless. But Roasty's actually pushing in here at 50% health here. He's got to be careful using those Fan of Knives over and over and over again, getting that energy. Supatees now the king kill target. Full kidney goes out. Taz trinketing out of that full blind. Deep freeze out onto Tazzlol. It's actually going to break the CC. The Ice Nova is actually going to break the CC. I like that Supatees is sitting on top of Tazzlol to break that CC over and over again. Now again, Cubsy taking a whole bunch of burst pressure. He's using that bark skin. He does no trinket available to him. He's got to be careful, but great peeling out from Cloud9 to stop Lossa from connecting out onto Cubsy. Another clone lands over that onto Lossa. Lossa free once again, but he can't be pushing out too far. Cubsy is positioning himself very far away from the map, forcing Holy Crow to overextend if they want to go on him, but Lossa wants to get aggressive. He is using that Blade Storm with the Recklessness out onto Roasties, forcing him down to 50% health here. Look at Cubsy's mana. He's at 15% mana. He can't do this forever. As Supatees can continue to survive these setups over and over, that could be their advantage against Cloud9. Supatees now bashing up Roasties defensively, and they're swapping the pressure around to Cubsy as he pushes in. He's going to have to force to displace away. Again, a Stormbolt lands from Lossa, but Lossa just getting polymorphed up over and over and cannot reconnect over onto Cubsy. Cubsy now at 13% mana. If Tazzlol, Supatees, and Lossa can continue to survive the setup that is Cloud9, Cubsy cannot do this forever, especially as we go deeper into dampening. But But Cubsy getting in their face now at this point is forced back again. And Supatees and Lossa are just going to be sitting on top of one another this over and over and over again. Death from above lands on a Supatees, but he preemptively bear forms it, and he's going to use Barkskin as well. There's a Solar Beam going out onto Wicked Witch from Supatees, stopping those Frostbolts, stopping his momentum. He's got to be careful. He's locked out on Frost, but he's okay now. He has that block available to him if he needs it. Cubsy forced to come back in and heal once again. Iron Bark being used over out onto Wicked Witch. Cubsy now taking a whole bunch of procs from Supatees, forced back a little bit. He's going to use that Shadow Meld. He's going to try to get the drink. Tazzlol moving forward and actually gets bashed up by Cubsy instead, but I love that Taz was moving forward to stop him from drinking. But now is that the whole game because of that blink forward? Supatees in the Garrote, down to 2%. Rallying Cry coming out from Lossa. Supatees running away. Shadow Step from Roasties is going to end the game, and Holy Crow is going to go down to the mighty Cloud9 in game number 3. You know, earlier on when Cubsy went for that drink, I think that was like their main advantage. I think Holy Crow needed to make sure that Cubsy did not get that drink, but because Tazzlol did that, he actually forced himself very vulnerable and very vulnerable to that CC. If you watch right here, Cubsy has no mana left. He gets, and then there's Tazzlol running in, trying to stop him from that drink, but Cubsy's just going to bash him up regardless, and then all that damage out on the Supatees. The CC chain is down, available for Taz. He's in Narnia. Supatees tries to survive, but you cannot kite a rogue, and down he goes. Down he goes indeed. Cloud9 versus Holy Crow is now over. Congratulations to Cloud9 moving on here in the tournament. Holy Crow will now have to drop down to that lower bracket. We're going to be jumping into the next game here very, very shortly. Next up, we have